proud of the guys for hanging in there and trusting the play the next play mentality that we talk about quite a bit. It's a little disappointing. I thought we were over the lull of how we lost last week, and clearly how we started this game. We still hadn't shaken out the cobwebs from that one, but the guys hung in there. Even when we fumbled that one right before half to make it a one-score game, we go down in the locker room down 2 scores, and the guys made their corrections, and we were very attentive with the guys, with everything that the coaches were having to say with what we were trying to do, and still had some belief, obviously, that we were going to do it. And then, again, we put ourselves right back in a hole with a pick on the first play. And, so not a whole lot went our way. A lot of it, again, like we were talking about last weekend, is self-inflicted. So there's some stuff we got to get cleaned up, but very proud of the effort and the will to just stay with it and keep fighting right up to the last buzzer and find a way to get one.
How much do you think the lull, at least the beginning, is the loss of Sippy, the way you lost him?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I told Josh the same thing, that you could just feel it on the sideline. There was almost a gasp, and not just the players, the coaches as well, right, with what he means to our program, not just the defense. That word heart and soul of a team gets thrown out there a lot, but there's no question that that's what he is for us. And, praying that obviously the MRI comes back positive for him. Obviously it's a huge loss when he's not on the field for our team, but just feel terrible for him in his senior year to have any kind of injury, let alone one that could be, serious. So we'll hope for the best and then go from there.
Sticking with the defense, how do you feel like Owen stepped up with Mark's injury?
You know what? Again, Owen, Beagle, some of those guys that are leaders on our football team, I think always play well. The guys that stepped up big are Porter Zeman and Chase Cook, guys that, when you're playing behind Mark Sipple, there's not a whole lot of times where you're probably thinking to yourself that I'm going to be counted on today. And, thank God that they stayed in it, approached it like they were going to get on the field and made some plays. Obviously, there's some things that when we go back and watch it on film, we got guys out of position, communication errors. And again, I think it all comes back. I think Coach Thomas will be the first one to tell you that, when a guy like Sipple comes out the field, it's not just his position, but the whole thing is affected at that point because he is for sure the key of our defense and gets guys lined up even when it's chaotic. I don't know how many plays they ran. Josh said, would they run 102 plays, and they're going 100 miles an hour at times. That is the type of situation where you need a guy like Sipple in the game so that when the call's not coming from the sideline, he can get us in the right situation. So, we got some big shoes to fill there. I would imagine even if it's not a serious one that he's going to be sore here for a little bit. So we got to get some of that stuff ironed out and get some guys next man up mentality. But, again, we found a way and proud of those guys.
Do you think that also with the injury that sort of affected how you played across the middle? Because it seemed like they were able to do, kind of what they wanted to do with those sort of medium passes.
Yeah.
Points.
Yeah, we, it's like anything else, right? We had a game plan that we thought was going to match up some of their crossing routes. We knew they wanted to run mesh, and they were going to run the crossers. And, it's the same thing, to be honest, for the first 3 weeks of camp. That's what we did to the defense as well. And, so we thought we had some things shored up and going to get fit up, right? But, they found voids. And, in the second half, Coach Thomas and the rest of the staff made some adjustments to where that wasn't happening. Late in the third quarter, fourth quarter, they weren't getting those routes anymore. So, it's again, you go into it, right, with a game plan for a reason, right, after watching film. And when things don't work, the coaches at that point have to make adjustments, and our guys made some good ones at the end.
On the flip side, certainly after the interception, to start the second half, you could have packed it in, that could be it. Instead, Freeze finds another level, and things start to click with Champney, with Willis, and all of a sudden you're able to start eating some yards that weren't there in the first half.
Yeah, again, Alex kept playing through it. There was a couple of decisions that he wishes he had back, and it was just one of those days where you all of a sudden look up at the scoreboard and you're in a 21-point hole. You feel like you got to score 21 points every single throw, and I thought he settled in late. To be honest, the one that was the bad one was we get it to a one-score game, and rather than taking some of the underneath stuff after they were dropping everything off, he tries to force one, and it almost came back to bite us at that point. Thank God we got some stops, but he made some plays at the end, and obviously the long one to Ethan, it's in a scramble, and he finds him on the crossing route that was not even the focal point of that side of the play. So made a ton of plays, but again, we talked after the game, and that is, he's in a situation now where, the game management part, he's got to take more pride in that, and he knows that. Second year starting Q as a senior, he's got all the talent in the world to be one of the best Qs in our league, but you gotta manage the game at the same time and know when to take your shots, and obviously I need to do a better job getting him coached up on that, and we will.
You talked after last week about trying to get Mettlach the ball more, and especially fourth quarter, overtime, he became a favorite target, and that's what you're asking of him in that moment.
Yep, Mishy played well, D-Will played well, Champney obviously played well. All three of those guys. Again, I said it last week, I said at the beginning of the camp in our team meeting that those three are not expected to just be good. They got to be difference makers in our offense. On top of that, right, you get a redshirt freshman wide receiver in Kernsey, makes two huge plays, to keep us on the field. And he's close on two others for home run balls, and we just missed them. But, that whole group played really well.
Talk about, having to go through a second overtime and then get into the two-point conversion plays and all of that. And, what kind of adjustment you have to make in those moments?
Yep, well, you don't ever my call sheet will have more two-point plays on it next week, but, we tapped out of them. I mean, every two-point play that we had worked during the week, we got through, and then we had to start, going to some of our things that we were running short yardage or, where we can get some rub routes. We were close to getting Drew in on that tight end tight screen, and they tackle us at the goal line. So we went right back to the well. And, again, getting back to what I said about Champney and the boys being difference makers, we call the same exact play. He goes and makes another play. And, everybody knows about D-Will and everybody knows about Champney last year. But I do think that those two guys for sure are two of the best that, are in our league. And they played like it tonight. So I'm proud of those guys.
With Beagle making that play on the final play, how much does that boost his confidence now as he's has to be the leader of this group?
Yep. Behind the scenes, Beeks has been a leader for us, and one of not only the best players on our team, but we feel like in that position that anybody we see. So Beeks has got no issues with confidence, it was awesome to see, right? We get that two-point conversion in the last OT, the defense go down the field, and he just looked at me and kind of started shaking his head like it's time, and he ends up being the one making the play. So again, D-Will, Champney, Mishy, it's no different on that side of the ball. We got a couple guys on that side of the ball that in big times need to step up, and they did tonight. Schlick got that huge sack, that they end up getting points out of at the end of the day. But to get him off their mark, he shows up at the right time as well. So, those are the guys that we need to be able to lean on.